The push for the postseason is undeniably underway in USL League One as we welcome you to the Pacific Northwest in Spokane, Washington. Luis Gil has been having a renaissance in his new home with the velocity, 5 goals, 5 assists in league play this season. Meanwhile, Tormenta is looking for Sebastian Vivas to spark a late season goal surge. The League One playoff race continues with Spokane hosting South Georgia up next. It's League One on ESPN Plus, and we've got a good one brewing here at One Spokane Stadium. The Spokane Velocity and South Georgia Tormenta are preparing to do battle, brought to you by Idaho Federal Credit Union, your financial success fan club. Welcome one and all on ESPN Plus. My name is Mark Schoenster. I'm joined by Klaus German. It's a good one here, and we'll take a look at why on these standings, brought to you by Idaho Central Credit Union. Spokane, as of late, have been finding success, and that's put them in the conversation for one of those top 4 spots in the playoffs. Meanwhile, South Georgia Tormenta just sitting above the playoff line as it stands right now. Their goal is to stave off those 4 teams aggressing below them and keep that spot and maybe push up as the season goes along. But on the Spokane side of things, I just mentioned this, Klaus, they've been able to find results as of late, which has obviously put them in a better position.
A team that hasn't lost since July 27th of 2024, a team that has so far found a pretty decent form. Towards the last couple of stretch of the season, we talked to the coaches. We know these last couple of games, that's when the team has to be found. That's when usually there's a little trouble for the squads trying to find their form, but hasn't been this case for Spokane, who so far has had a very decent form and is looking to get themselves into the playoffs in the next couple of games.
And someone trying to find some form is Ian Cameron on the offensive side of the ball. They've had more possession as of late, but they haven't had the goal scoring, which means they're going to look to their primary threats in Sebastian Vivas and Pedro Fonseca.
That's the problem. A team that could do so much more, but unfortunately they haven't been able to get the results. We spoke with the coach. They've been trying to fix things defensively, the counterattack, the pressure. Last time these teams met, we saw 6 goals. So we'll see if we see some scoring tonight as well.
Dare I say that Spokane has found some velocity as of late, but Tormenta are looking to stop them dead in their tracks en route to starting their own run of form here in the final fixtures. It's the Velocity in Tormenta coming up after this on ESPN Plus.
At Eastern Washington University, students and faculty work side by side to restore a lost prairie and decrease our carbon footprint. Composers are writing music to help us understand how salmon migrate. And urban and regional planning students partner with cities to gather the data they need to address homelessness. Interdisciplinary education that gets real about the real world. That's Eastern Washington University and you.
There's 2 Zephyr FC home matches left in September. Welcoming opponents from Charlotte and DC. Featuring top pro talent from far and wide. Playing at One Spokane Stadium. With science activities from Mobius on September 15th. See Spokane Zephyr FC make women's sports history. Reserve your seats now.
I'm a real wild one. Once in a while, we all want to go wild. We just need a little help. Meet a little help. The 2024 Ford Bronco Sport Wild Edition goes over any terrain, so you can go all out. Get a wild deal on a Bronco Sport today. Lease a Bronco Sport Wild Edition for $339 a month for 36 months, or purchase with $3.9 for 36 and get $2,000 wild bonus cash.
It's time to rumble here at One Spokane Stadium. Spokane Velocity playing host to South Georgia Tormenta FC on ESPN+. My name is Mark Schoenster. I'm joined by Klaus Sherman, welcoming you in once again for this broadcast and for this matchup, the second time these two teams have ever met. Here are our starting 11s. First off, for Lee Wiedman's side, 0 changes from their last game.
They're going to start with 3 in the back as they did last game. Thompson in the goal, 3 in the back, Miller, Ledge, Longmire in the middle, 2 holding midfielders, Fernandez and Lewis, Waldeck to the right, Jump to the left, and up top, Gil, Gonzalez, and Darling, the 11 chosen by head coach Lee Wiedman.
Meanwhile, on Tormenta's side of things, just 1 change, and it's the addition of Curtis Thorne going into that right back spot for Callum Stretch. Longtime Tormenta player, left to go to USL Championship, and now he's back with Ian Cameron.
More of a classic 4-4-2 here. Lombardi and Thorne, as you said, as the fullbacks. Playwin and Dangler as the center backs. 4 in the middle, Fonseca, Stearman, Walker, and Spangler. And up top, Watson and Vivas. The 11 chosen by coach Ian Cameron.
We'll see how these two formations counteract each other as we get this one off to the finish line, or off to the starting line, excuse me, as we see Sebastian Vivas and Josh Doling, the respective number 9s for their 2 sides. It's the black unis for Tormenta, the white for Spokane. Our head official for today's game, Łukasz Józefecki. It was a 3-3 draw, an exciting 3-3 draw the last time these two teams met, but of course, it was a bit odd circumstances that game was played under. And here we go from One Spokane Stadium. It's the Velocity and Tormenta doing battle. Should be 90 minutes of excitement here. Spokane in a fantastic run of form as of late, looking to continue that. Meanwhile, Tormenta right there on the edge of the playoff grouping, trying to keep away the 4 teams encroaching upon them, which means lots of playoff implications here between these two sides. Spokane were in that conversation with Tormenta for a good chunk of this season during the summer. But given the results they've been able to pool, they've now put themselves more so in the conversation for maybe potentially, should things go well, earn themselves a home playoff game, get one of those top 4 seeds. Tormenta, of course, would love to put themselves more comfortably into a playoff spot, starting with a result today. It'll be the home side who hold possession for just a moment, and now they'll push it forward once again. Azriel Gonzalez with the ball now. Taps it out to Waldeck. Andre Lewis walking this one in before giving it back to one of his center backs. Won the last game 3-2 at home here against Central Valley Fuego. Lee Wiedman said that Central Valley Fuego are a team with an interesting approach, as Derek Waldeck brings this one down. Out to Gonzalez. He keeps this one in play, but it goes into the hands of Fort Parker. 3-2 victory at home last time out for Spokane. Central Valley become quite a difficult team to play against because they change formations game to game. They even change their shape within a single match, and it caused the Spokane team some problems. They had to stay on their toes, and ultimately they're able to get the result they wanted, as this one rolls beyond the feet of Gonzalez and out for a goal kick.
So far, a pretty good season for Spokane. 25 points is the record, 7-4-4. Obviously 7 games to go, 3 at home, 4 to go. We talked to Coach Lee Wiedman as well. He's been working a lot on the pressure, on possession, trying to get this team to score more goals. We also tried to talk to him about the table and the points. He said, honestly, listen, I don't care about the table right now. We go game by game. It's not a cassette. It's not something that I tell everybody. It's the reality. We rarely look at the table. We try to improve as a team, and we try to get better as a team week by week. So obviously, for a coach that is officially in front of a team, not as an assistant, but as a head coach for the 2nd season so far, having a pretty good one.
It's easier said than done when it comes to saying you're not going to look at the table and you're not going to pay attention to that, because obviously what's going on at the table doesn't usually have a lot of difference to how you're going to play on the pitch and affect your game planning. As here's an opportunity here. Gonzalez taps it back. Lewis rolls it out to Heel. Luis Heel, the veteran, has that one glanced on the swing inside, and Spangler will run this one out. Some Pressure there, though, from Cameron Miller means Spokane will keep going forward. Floated ball up, punched away by Parker. And it'll roll out for a velocity throw-in. For Parker, once again, getting the start between the sticks after suffering an injury and watching the past 2 games with Drew Romig, the one getting the starts. Getting the opportunity to get back between the sticks and see what he can do. Some time off, and it's been some time off for Tormenta in general, coming off of a bye week. Last week of training, they went hard, and then Ian Cameron gave him the weekend off, so then the guys wouldn't have to hear his voice for a few days. Then they got back at it this week, and he said it was akin to that of the preseason going into week 1 of the year and the way they allocated the training and scheduled everything. Gonzalez pushing forward once again. It's Steedman in front of him. Azrael Gonzalez cuts inside, now plays it up top. One-timer from Lewis! Punched away by Parker. And if there is a player on this Spokane Velocity team that they are okay with letting it fly from that distance, it's Andre Lewis, a player who has made himself rather popular around here for some of the long-distance bangers he's scored.
You see a pretty good cut by Gonzalez, who takes his time. He doesn't just cross it right away. He takes his time, picks up his head, and looks for different options. Lewis, who didn't even stop the ball, hit it first touch. Wonderful strike and a good reaction by the keeper as well. In their 5 minutes so far, Spokane has been the one possessing more.
Let's take a look at the keys to the game presented by Ford for Spokane. Talking to Lee Viedman, he said that this is a Tormenta team that's very dangerous on the counterattack, so they need to be careful when they have possession to not give it away at bad spots. Meanwhile, for Tormenta, Ian Cameron was talking about how they've been trying to have more possession as of late, try to control the tempo of the game, but that has resulted in them actually creating less chances because they have the ball and the opposition has been able to set up their defensive structure. And it's a lot harder to score when you're structured defensively than when you catch a team on a counterattack opportunity. So they need to figure out a way to find those seams and unlock the block that the opponent sets themselves in. They're going to find some good results here in the final stretch of the season.
I would also add holding on to the lead. Sometimes this team manages to score, they manage to get ahead, but once they get ahead, they get too complacent. And they quickly start to back up and, oh, careful here.
An opportunity, Luis Heel squares it across to Gonzalez, but a sliding effort from Jake Dangler smothers the opportunity.
Again, Gonzalez being a clear protagonist, just like in the last one. The keeper takes a little too long. And a very good pressure so far. A very high pressure as well from Spokane. We talked about possession. So far, we've seen very little from Tormenta, who hasn't even been able to cross the equator of the pitch yet with the ball. So far, total dominance from the home side.
Dangler will switch the point of attack here, crossing it, but Ish Chom is ready for it, and once again, it's Spokane who will have possession, but now a whistle blows. It'll be a free kick for the visitors. Watch the USL Jägermeister Cup final between Forward Madison FC and Northern Colorado Hailstorm FC as the tournament cup is hoisted by the inaugural winner on Saturday, September 28th on ESPN+. Should be an exciting one there. It's a bit of a loose touch, but a trip from behind by Admir Spangler will mean a free kick for Spokane. Spangler with his 13th start of the season in league play for Ian Cameron. Youngster from Tampa. So we nearly saw Spokane score off an opportunity from some pressure on the goalkeeper, Ford Parker. As Vivas goes down, whistle is blown, and another free kick will be awarded to Tormenta.
Yeah, some of the players asking the ref to apply the advantage law on that one. Tormenta was clearly attacking with 2 men up front. Referee cuts off the action to call the free kick. See if they can make something out of this one.
Ajmir Spangler and Daniel Steedman by the dead ball, but it appears to be Spangler who will loft this one up towards the penalty area.
Ooh.
Nodded away. Velocity able to handle it on this occasion. Heel rolling it up to Dulling. He's got Lewis streaking with them. Andre Lewis plays it out wide to Gonzalez. Osriel Gonzalez takes the shot, and it's knocked away by Parker.
Again, Gonzalez with 3 clear chances so far under 10 minutes, something you usually don't see in a match like this. Another wonderful build-up. Tormenta who's not able to get back on time. And Gonzalez once again on the left side. Here, I believe the choice is the wrong one. Obviously better said than done, of course. But I think the right choice would have been that left post. Taking into consideration the player ends up finishing with his left foot. I think the left post would have been more of an accurate choice. But again, 3 very good attacks under 10 minutes for the home side.
So actually didn't hit the boot of Fort Parker, so it's a goal kick for Tormenta. Another good opportunity for Spokane, but yet it remains scoreless. Derek Waldeck gets hit, he goes down. No foul called. At least that's an assumption it was. No whistle was blown. And I tried to restart things quickly here. Scan now and you will win one of 20 unique restaurant discounts. Thank you Caruso's, De Leon's, Taco and Bar, the Burger Dock, as here's an opportunity. Dulling will play this one back to Waldeck. Lewis slips this one to Gonzalez. And it'll roll out over to Ishjome as he tries to keep it in play. We'd like to thank Caruso's, De Leon's Taco and Bar, the Burger Dock, Flat Stick Pub, TT's Barbecue, Jimmy John's, Casa Tap House, IHOP, and Steam Plant Restaurant and Brew Pub. This one floats over to Waldeck. Waldeck back across. And away, and now it's Spangler.
Yeah, you see the keeper doesn't know what to do with the ball. Obviously launches it forward. There's no one to show up. There's no one to ask for the ball. There's barely any elaboration so far from the visitors, who once they get in touch with the ball, they quickly lose it. Good pressure so far from the home side.
Lewis rolls this one up to Dulling. They're out wide, doesn't opt to give it to him. Now Josh Dulling sprays it out to the left for Derek Waldeck. He winds up, lofts it in, and it's nearly headed on goal, but instead met by Preston Kilwine first. That's a heavy thump from Aaron Walker. Longtime veteran for the Greenville Triumph, now member of Tormenta. In a mid-season signing for Ian Cameron's side.
There's the control by Gonzalez. It's just a simple body-to-body. Clearly a foul because it's not from the side, it's from the back. I don't think a yellow card is needed here. But clearly that foul shows the frustration from the visitors, not able to get in touch with the ball. They reject it, they get rid of it, and as soon as they get rid of it, Spokane is back on it. They have no time to breathe, literally.
Derek Waldeck is one of the two, and Luis Heel is the one who's going to take it. Ball nodded away, now Fonseca did not get that one right. Lofts it off and out of play for a Spokane throw. Some good opportunities here for the Velocity early on in this game, and they've been pretty opportunistic in their goal scoring in these past few games. I believe he even said it's a natural byproduct of the kind of guys they brought in to build this team. They've just got some killers when the opportunities arise, but I'm sure you would have wished that one of those opportunities that have started in this game would have found the back of the net. It's also a factor of training too, trying to make sure that these guys keep their head on a swivel and that they take advantage of when those moments arise, because a lot of people say that football's a game of mistakes. And if you're the team that could be more unforgiving when the other side makes a mistake, then that's going to lead to a lot of positive results.
We spoke about possession. Clearly, Spokane on top with 60%. Careful with this one.
Watson keeps this one in play. And now the decision is that he did not keep it in play. So goal kick for the home team.
Yeah, the first true approach by the visitors. Watson with a thumbs up, appreciating the pass. It was a good ball into the space. Just didn't manage to get there in time.
Last time Tormenta played was against Knoxville in their final Jägermeister Cup game. It was a game that couldn't find a way into the playoffs unless they were able to score. I believe it was 10 or something goals. So ultimately it was a game that, barring something truly remarkable, was a match with nothing on the line. They didn't make it to the Jägermeister Cup playoffs, and Ian Cameron told me that, he told us, that he didn't feel his side approached it well since you look at the results. They tried some new things in those cup matches, but it's not like they went off the rails experimenting. They could have had better performances in those games and caused the cup a good new tournament, but of course nothing is perfect the first go around, and they're definitely gonna wanna do better in the years to come. You mentioned that it's not like it's a team that only focuses on league play, because they've done really well in the Open Cup these past few years. But now the focus will be solely on league play, given there's only 2 teams left in the Jägermeister Cup trying to vie for that trophy. USL Championship soccer continues on the ESPN networks in September with a matchup of top teams from the Eastern Conference. Detroit City FC takes on Player Shield leader Louisville City FC in a Sunday afternoon clash, September 22nd at 3 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2.
Now you can tell that Tormenta were able to pass the test of those first 10-15 minutes where the pressure was literally upon them. They were able to keep a clean sheet so far, and now they feel a little more comfortable with the ball. You see players moving around, you see a better circulation. So you can clearly tell they feel a little more comfortable. The storm has passed.
They've withstood the opening flurry from Spokane, which is kind of the reverse of what happened last time these two teams played in a 3-3 draw. Lee Veidman said that they had to start better in this game than they did last time. They certainly have done that, even if they haven't found a goal to solidify it. They went down 2 goals in the first 18 minutes of the game in that one. As Doling is on the run once again. Josh Doling looking for options. Now puts this one inside, and Jome! It was well worked, but Ish Jome couldn't put it on frame.
Well, you can tell Spokane feels way more comfortable when Tormenta has the ball. Why? Because they allow spaces, which allow deep balls and counterattacks. And so far they've created 2. Let's just see if the next one is a lucky one. But a wonderful ball from Doling, who takes an extra second, waits for an option, and puts an excellent ball. Could have been the first one. Again, when Tormenta has to back up, when they have to retreat, they're not doing it well, and it's creating a lot of spaces for Spokane to take advantage of.
Whistle blows here, as it looks like got a player for Spokane down, Cameron Miller. Once again, our head official, Łukasz Józefecki. Looks like we've gotten our first booking of the evening, Ajmir Spangler. Just unnecessary there from him.
Yeah, especially in the area where the foul's committed, right at the equator of the pitch. There's no need for it. But obviously it tells you the frustration. Obviously there's almost 20 minutes of game time. Tormenta still hasn't been able to control the ball. They haven't been able to do much with it. So obviously it leads to a frustration where the players, they're just chasing after the ball. So it leads to those typical fouls.
That's the 5th yellow card of the season in league play for Ajmir Spangler. As this one deflects out for a corner kick. It's actually our first corner kick of the evening. This is an ICCU corner kick, your financial success fan club. Luis Heel from the left corner flag. Sends the cross in, headed away by Dangler. And it'll be a Spokane throw.
A couple of players there asking the referee for a foul. We'll see it in the replay in just a second, but a lot of grabbing, pushing, and shoving there in the area. Very well executed ball so far from the corner kick spot.
Now we get a long throw in potentially here for the home side. This one launched in, trying to bike it more into frame, but some deflections kept it in question for a moment. But Tormenta eventually able to make do with it, and now they could push the other direction. Sebastian Vivas and Derek Waldeck getting physical there. Perhaps if Vivas had a better touch there when it came off of Waldeck, that could have been a better opportunity for the visitors, but this is where it stands right now. They might be able to jar an opportunity loose anyway.
And he tried to protect the ball. He was worried about the marking coming right behind him, didn't realize he had another man coming right to his side. The problem with the forwards is that they have to travel a lot in order to get in contact with the ball, and that's been the problem so far for the visitors.
Gonzalez working on Thorne. Plays it back across. He had Andre Lewis there. It was just beyond his reach. Would have been an opportunity for him to take another one-timer like he did earlier. And this will roll out in favor of Spokane. Windermere Foundation is thrilled to welcome our charity of the month. It's more than a home, it's a way to give back. Please visit our site at www.windermerefoundation.com. 0-0 your scoreline after 20 minutes. It's been the home team, Spokane, who have been asking all the questions in this match. But the scoreline remains scoreless despite that. I'm gonna say it's out for a Tormenta throw. A Tormenta team that has a lot of quality in the front line. One of the highest expected goals in the league, Lee Viedman was telling us. Called them a great counter-attacking team, so they need to be smart on the ball. Meanwhile, on the other side, Ian Cameron talked about his opposition. Mentioned that in the last meeting, his team changed their structure in attacking when they last met, and of course, they scored 3 goals in that game, so they've stuck with it since then. But he felt he didn't press Spokane enough in that first matchup, so they've been building on finding quality pressure in the game since then. We're gonna have to get used to playing in front of their fans, which is a challenge, but they like being in these environments. Of course, One Spokane Stadium been a great addition to League One this season. The energy that these fans have brought consistently, game in and game out. They have certainly embraced this brand new club. Spangler had knocked away from him. Here's Steedman. Playing it across. Lombardi. It's returned to the lineup. Here's another ball swinging in, headed down and away. Made a correction earlier. Actually, when we looked at the lineup graphics, I said Curtis Thorne was the one change. It's actually Aaron Lombardi who was the one change for Tormenta. That's right. In the starting 11, stepping in for Callum Stretch. Lombardi back in his spot as a left back. As this one pops out for Fort Parker to knock away.
See, the problem for Tormenta is the fullbacks. Obviously, when you come out with that back three, your fullbacks don't return. They don't make a run back. That's where the holes, that's where the space pretty much comes out. And that's been the problem. You can see on those counterattacks how the sides are always vulnerable. That's been the issue for the away side so far. That, like we said, the storm has passed for them, especially in those first 15 minutes where they were literally on the edge of the knockout punch, holding up pretty well.
Spokane trying to keep things rolling here. Ish Jome over on the right channel. One-on-one with Kilwine. Gets the cross away, headed away by Dangler. Now Lewis brings this down over to Waldeck. Get things churning once again, Spokane. force anything if they don't have to, especially you've got some hungry players attacking-wise for Tormenta, sniffing for a moment of danger like this. So it's going to be a free kick for Tormenta because there was no foul called and Andre Lewis fell down and grabbed the ball, which meant that he was guilty. Lombardi passes one back to Aaron Walker. We'll try to enjoy some possession here at Tormenta. Yet to challenge Brooks Thompson, the goalkeeper for Spokane as of late. 22-year-old. Still a young guy getting his reps, despite, of course, having a USL League One championship under his belt with North Carolina last season. Curtis Thorne just caught behind that back line. Select the official match ball supplier of the USL League One and many elite leagues throughout Europe. Visit us.select-sport.com for the latest Select products, specials, and more. Select, the player's choice.
Tormenta looking a little more solid defensively now. Making the ball move from left to right, right to left. Getting everyone involved. So I have to see a little more on the attack as we speak to coach. He talked about creation, talked about building more chances. That's been a big problem for the side. And so far, that's one of the things we haven't seen so far in these 26 minutes almost, is the creation. We haven't seen any clear chances from the visitors as we have seen from the home side.
Josh Doling wins it back for Spokane, but perhaps Tormenta taking baby steps in the right direction in this game thus far, as Fonseca knocks it out to his left for Vivas, and now it's Aaron Walker. Vivas rolls this one forward for Watson, and the offside flag goes up as we were expecting there. Niall Watson just slipping behind that back line a little early.
Yeah, I think the pass was actually a little too late because the run was made in the proper time, but once the pass was made, it was already caught off sides. But as you can see now, Tormenta pushing its lines forward. Now you can see the center backs almost at the equator of the pitch. The fullbacks already going into the attack. So definitely a better run from the team in black in these last couple of minutes.
Can they make a dangerous moment out of it? Lombardi laying it back to Daniel Steedman. Now it's Dangler rolling it out to the right-hand side for Spangler. Starting to buffer the way further and further down the pitch. Here's Fonseca. One-on-one with Ish Joan, but Lewis is right there. Now across inside, nodded away. And it's a tussle as Azriel Gonzalez on his way to the ground is able to get it up the pitch, and now Luis Heel pops it over to Doling. Doling sends Lewis running. Andre Lewis hits the brakes. Lewis back across. Gonzalez taps it out to Waldeck. Derek Waldeck with a squaring pass. It may have glanced Josh Doling, but ultimately Ford Parker is able to fall on top of it.
I think that's where the formula is. Spokane is like, you know what? Go ahead, take care of the ball, take possession. But we'll hit you with those counterattacks. And you can tell every single time they manage to get the ball back, they play forward quick, and they're able to find the space. Again, Tormenta having issues, but once they have to retreat, once they have to back up, those fullbacks are not returning. And it's making it very, very hard for the two center backs.
Ford Parker getting the stop there. Talked about the goalkeeping situation with Ian Cameron a little bit on Thursday, and he didn't have an answer for us then who he was going to start to goal. He said it's been a 1A, 1B all season long. Ford Parker, of course, had injury, which gave Drew Romig a chance to put on a stretch of appearances and matches, and he did well with it. But the fact of the matter is, it's been neck and neck all season long. It's back up in the air. And he said, someone is going to be disappointed when we make the decision, but ultimately it's a good problem to have when you really have to scratch your head and make that decision week to week.
Not a lot of teams in the league have such a good consistency when it comes to having two very good competitive keepers. Yeah, of course, one of them is going to be sad and one of them is going to be left on the bench, but the reality is for the coach, there's nothing better than just have two keepers that he can fully trust upon.
So the tenor of the game has started to shift a little bit. Tormenta having the ball a little bit more. Spokane trying to find their opportunities on the counter-attack. Some odd man rushes. Fonseca gets that one knocked loose right before he could dispatch it.
We need to see more from number 10. We haven't seen much yet from the Brazilian. Born in Rio de Janeiro. So far it's been a slow game from number 10.
Lewis knocks this back to Marcelo Lage. The man anchoring that back three. Heel. Tapping it to Andre Lewis. Waldeck with a lot of room to operate. Closed off now by Thorne. The Spokane side's been able to find a lot of space here this evening thus far. Colin Fernandez walks with it before drilling it up the pitch back to Miller. 30 minutes through. No goals to show for us here from one Spokane stadium. Washington. Derek Waldeck poking this one ahead and then glances it off of Curtis Thorne, but did it take a touch off Waldeck too. The decision is corner kick.
Yeah, the control wasn't the best from Waldeck. It was a wonderful ball. Again, that left side has been the side Spokane has chosen throughout the match to attack. It's the side that they feel more comfortable. You can clearly tell. So far, this guy right here, Curtis Thorne, has had a very, very tough job to do. Not only to cover the natural midfielder attacking, but also the fullback also getting himself into the attack.
Another ICCU corner kick, your financial success fan club. We get a hope before the set piece can be taken.
No men at the near post. Careful with that.
Heel lofts this one up, headed away by Dangler. Jake Dangler. Him and Curtis Thorne were a part of that championship winning team a couple years ago for Tormenta, but outside of that, no one else on this team were part of that Tormenta squad. Now, of course, they have Aaron Walker and Connor Doyle in the 18 who have won League One titles, just not with Ian Cameron's side. Lewis. Waldeck with the cross, and it's ultimately harmless as Lombardi is the one who collects it for Tormenta. That's out for a throw. Velocity fans, get match ready with the latest Velocity merchandise. Shop online or in the team store at the Davenport Grand Hotel in Spokane. Saw some gear there from fans in the stands here in Spokane, Washington, as Gonzalez has a chance to push forward. Osriel Gonzalez out to Lewis. Marked by Thorne. Now Heel taps it right back. That pass jumped on Vivas, getting a piggyback ride there for a moment from Derek Waldeck. It'll be a free kick for Tormenta.
Now, obviously, the pressure from Spokane not as high as we saw in the first 10-15 minutes. Obviously, you can't perform such a high pressure for all 90 minutes. The possession clearly now evens out, 53-47. as we saw in the first couple of 10, 12, 13 minutes, where we saw 60-40. So clearly, Tormenta getting back into the game. Also, coach realizing, I saw him there talking to, especially Curtis Thorne, trying to let him know he has to come back. He needs to come back. He needs to cover that area. And so far, Tormenta has been doing it pretty good.
Thorne with the cross. A little too much arc on it, too much height. Spokane will reclaim possession once again. Lee Wiedemann once again in his first year as the man in charge here. Well, of course, it's also the first year of the club, but was last an assistant with the Charleston Battery. He mentioned that as of right now, even here in September, he's looking to learn something new every day about what it takes to lead a club, lead an organization, and he said that the moment you lose that drive, it's over. It's quite the undertaking to not only become a head coach, but to build a brand new franchise from the ground up. You have to learn how to handle the highs and the lows. Even the best teams in the USL have dips during the season, but the best ones get out of them quickly. So that one's headed away. Now Gonzalez rushing forward. Lewis streaking to his left, Dulling to his right. It's Lewis, gets by the defender. Andre Lewis! Denied by Parker. Another chance for Spokane, and another one that's gone to the wayside. Now here come Tormenta, Fonseca. A cutting back pass, no one's there for it. Vivas was the one nearest. And now Dulling can go in the other direction. Heel squares it to Lewis, and now he'll see where he goes with it. Back to Dulling.
Tormenta needs to work on that defending, on that backing up, on that retreating. And it's been a problem almost all afternoon for them.
Spokane has been able to slice and dice their way into the penalty area. And now here's Dulling, but this one just too far ahead of him. Ford Parker smelled some danger. Was able to get there in time. Let's take a look at that last opportunity for the Velocity.
That would have been a red right there.
Yeah, if he had made more contact.
Because it was outside of the area, so it wouldn't have been a penalty, which that would have been pretty much a red card. It was an clear action of goal.
Jake Dangler will be thankful that not only did he effectively miss on the challenge, but that it did end up in a goal because he missed the challenge.
Exactly.
Vivas, that's a lovely ball forward. Fonseca turning on the burners. Pedro Fonseca still inside, he shoots, it's saved! Call to action for the first time this evening, Brooks Thompson.
Well, we talked about Fonseca. We said it, we needed to see more from him. And there it is. Very good strike for number 10, who controls the ball pretty well. You're gonna see it right here. And cuts towards the inside. That cut right there, simply fantastic, and a great reaction by the keeper. First time he gets put to the test. Again, this cut right here, you're gonna see it right here. And the strike, maybe not a lot of power, but it did have good accuracy.
Brooks Thompson, a very vocal goalkeeper. Lee Wiedemann said they've been working on the details of what he shouts to his teammates. For example, if he's talking to his center backs, tell him to take a step left, take 5 steps forward, etc. Be very specific with the orders you're barking out, so then there is a clear and proper way to answer it if you're one of the teammates. Of course, goalkeepers got to be a vocal guy in the back. They've got a different vantage point than everybody else on the field.
100%, especially for your center backs. For a defender, there's nothing better than to have a keeper that constantly talks to you. Let's not forget that the keeper is the only player in the field that pretty much has a vision of the entire pitch, so can pretty much guide his defenders, even midfielders. So it's key for a keeper to be talkative, to be on top of his defenders, to call things out. That's exactly what you find right here.
And Thompson's gotten better about the instruction giving during his time here with Spokane. He's a young goalkeeper, just 22 years old, and the young guys have the athletic ability. They've got the ability to react. Sometimes it's that leadership element that they have to hone in, and that comes with experience. As another corner kick has been awarded to Spokane, this time from the right corner flag. Another ICCU corner kick. Can they find their moment on the set piece?
So far, Tormenta has been dominant when it comes to air balls. Almost every single duel has been won by the visitors. Let's see if this one's different.
From the right corner flag. Spokane finds something here. Fonseca, first one to it. Here's Fernandez. Services it back inside, and the header doesn't have enough dip to it. It lands on the roof.
Wonderful. Header by Longmire. Just a couple of inches above the crossbar. You're going to see it right here. First of all, it's a wonderful ball from Fernandez. And the header just inches above that crossbar.
And you really have to place it precisely if you're going to head it from that distance.
Keeper a couple of inches ahead of his usual spot. And when the ball comes usually like that, there's not a lot he can do about it. If you try to control it, if you try to bring it down, you might have a couple of defenders upon you, which can result in you losing the ball. So I think the header there would have been the best finishing possible.
Velocity fans, scan the QR code to get your single match tickets today. Next time they'll have a home game is almost a whole month from now. They'll host the Greenville Triumph, October 12th. It's a 3-game road stretch coming up for Spokane. And it's going to Madison, going to Omaha, which is tough back-to-back. Then they go to Central Valley, which they'll prefer being back on the West Coast at least, but a 3-game road stretch at this point in the season, a lot to prove in that little run, and then they'll be back to play Greenville at home here October 12th. So 4 more minutes plus whatever stoppage time gets added here. Left to go in the first half. Spokane will definitely be the side who will feel a little bit more hard done by the scoreless line. They've had moments, they've had the opportunities, but as it stands, it's still an even game. Spangler, the head, Niall Watson. Backtrack a little bit to Thorne. Aaron Lombardi met by Joan. The Tormenta that conjure up the difference-making chance here in the first half. They've been working on getting sharper. In this final stretch of the season, they've had more possession. They've started to press more, and they've been finding success with it, but the chance creation has dipped, which means Ian Cameron's team is searching for that balance. Now we're going to get a throw in the attacking third. Thorne, the cross goes in and ultimately hits the turf without anybody making contact with it. Lombardi rolls it to Fonseca. Walker to Fonseca again. He shoots! Tried to pick out the corner. Not quite on target.
Oh, another good one, isn't it? And once again from number 10, as we requested. Not too far away this time. So far, the 2 clear chances created by the visitors have been on the right foot of number 10. This one just inches away from the left post, defended by the keeper. But again, Tormenta looking better towards these last couple of minutes of the first half.
Pedro Fonseca, 6 goals on the season, which is behind only Sebastian Vivas in that category on this Tormenta side. Tug from Andre Lewis means a free kick for Tormenta. Always a good reason to come out and see a game here at One Spokane Stadium. The energy's been good throughout the season, but it is also on our Educators Night there. There'll be some recognitions made by the game day crew, but on top of that, hold on, what's going on outside the game, because could be a moment here within it. Aaron Walker. Back to him. Be a photo booth at the stadium with people and kids alike getting the chance to take pictures in there with the chalkboard. They can write down the name of teachers they appreciate. Lombardi swings this cross in. It's blasted away by Spokane. Down the field it'll go, and Dangler will head it back to his goalkeeper. Good time of the year to have a recognition for teachers. School year just kicking back up, and I know a lot of kids will be still bemoaning the fact that they're back at school, but it's worth recognizing and showing appreciation to teachers who, of course, are so instrumental to the development of the next generation.
A lot of parents couldn't be happier as well, right?
Right, 100%. We've got stoppage time here presented by Rosauer Supermarkets. Just 1 minute tacked on. Not a lot of stoppage in this game, so it makes sense that just a minute before we go to that halftime break. Some good halftime content coming your way here on ESPN+. Talk a little bit about the Jägermeister Cup playoff results, and then we'll go across the league in general, of course. Looks like going into the break, we're going to be scoreless here. Curtis Thorne with one last loft up the pitch. Watson has it knocked away. Now the question is it a throw or a corner? It's going to be a corner kick. First corner kick of the evening for Tormenta. Did some damage on set pieces the last time these two teams met. Maybe another ICCU corner kick. Will there be a last-second goal in the first 45? Spangler drives it in, knocked away. And this time it's out for a throw-in. And that'll do it for the first half of action. Spokane with the greater share of chances, but at the end of the day, at the end of the 45 minutes at least, it is still scoreless between Tormenta and Velocity here as we go to the break.
Well, clearly, the home side has been the better side. There's no question about that. Tormenta has been able to surpass that first 10-15 minutes where the pressure from the home side was inevitable. Very high pressure, which allowed many mistakes from the visitors. After those 15 minutes, everything was back on. Now we have a game.
We have a game, but we also have a break for you here as we prepare to step aside for just a moment on ESPN+. Your scoreline 0-0 between Spokane Velocity and South Georgia Tormenta FC. We'll be back with some halftime content up next on ESPN+.
At Eastern Washington University, students and faculty work side by side to restore a lost prairie and decrease our carbon footprint. Composers are writing music to help us understand how salmon migrate. and urban and regional planning students partner with cities to gather the data they need to address homelessness. Interdisciplinary education that gets real about the real world. That's Eastern Washington University and you.
I'm a real wild one. Once in a while, we all want to go wild. We just need a little help. Meet a little help. The 2024 Ford Bronco Sport Wild Edition goes over any terrain, so you can go all out. Get a wild deal on a Bronco Sport today. Lease a Bronco Sport Wild Edition for $339 a month for 36 months, or purchase with $3.9 for 36 and get $2,000 wild bonus cash.
Halftime here brought to you by Idaho Central Credit Union, your financial success fan club. 0-0 between these two sides. We had some excitement on Wednesday, though, for the Jägermeister Cup semifinal. So let's take a look at the sights and sounds of those two matchups. Boyce came crashing in. Still Devin Boyce. He shoots, scuffles through. Osmond! It's the captain! Mitch Osmond gives Forward Madison the lead. Sorensen slips it inside. It's Johnson. Now Alvarez hits the clutch and then scores! Luis Alvarez late in the half levels this one. Stephen Payne lost in the cross. Falling in is Gebhardt. Now Cheney! They don't need the whistle. They've got Christian Cheney at their behest.
It's been close. Over the top though, Rendon the target. He leaves it for Horde, and he puts it home. Clinical from the forward for Northern Colorado. A lot of space to drive into. Horde and Rendon options. He lays it off. Rendon one-on-one makes it 2-0. Glances over his shoulder, the flag stays down, and Bruno Rendon makes things 2-0 for Northern Colorado.
So we had a lot of fun in those semifinals, and now we have got the Jägermeister Cup final coming up in 2 weeks on ESPN+. The Hailstorm and the Mingos doing battle. Should be a lot of fun there. You got some high-octane offense throughout the Jägermeister Cup final, or from the Jägermeister Cup in general. From the Hailstorm and Madison, been stifling on the defensive side. Should be a lot of fun. We'll have more fun here on ESPN Plus on the other end of this break.
Is it somebody's birthday? Dad, come watch us hit this ugly piñata. Dad!
When Hornets show up, so do we. Terminix it.
The best nights start with Jägermeister. Made with 56 botanicals. Always served ice cold.
Take a miracle to come back from this. Heartbreaking end to the season. But what's this?
For the moments when anticipation
Clock's counting down. 5 seconds. 3, 2.
becomes celebration. Jägermeister. Meister the moment.
What a moment.
Falls in front, there's the goal! Give it the smoke, Detroit ahead! Goodrum pounds this ball, and the boys in purple soaring!
mosquitoes show up, so do we. Terminix it.
Yeah, trick. I said what I said. I'd rather be famous instead.
We welcome you back to halftime here at One Spokane Stadium. They've got some halftime performance and entertainment for them there. We've got some great halftime content for you here from wherever you may be tuning in, whether it be on your phone, on your big screen TV. We've got you covered. Here's the news and notes. Guess what? Lexington getting the chance to play their first game at home in their brand new 7,500 seat stadium this weekend, which is always great news when we get a new home in USL League One. Meanwhile, the Jägermeister Cup final, we touched base on it 2 weeks from now. Madison, Hailstorm, you're going to want to tune in. And you're also going to want to tune in to every League One match from here until the USL League One playoffs, because it is going to be a rush as these teams look to jockey for a good position in the playoffs, try to make the playoffs for that matter, and lock their spot and get a chance to win the league this year. And this is where they all stand as of right now, brought to you by Idaho Central Credit Union. Greenville triumphed with a big win earlier today. We'll look at all the score lines. Union Omaha putting themselves in a great spot to clinch, if not today, but clinch here in these next coming up weeks. They've got 32 points, only 22 games being played by every single team this season. So not a lot of room left for big changes in the table. As we see some of those results, the Kickers getting a big win on the road against the Independents earlier today. Then, of course, Greenville lighting it up, 5 goals on the road against Chattanooga. And Union Omaha with the lead against the Hailstorm right now. If they win that game and Tormenta lose this game, then the Owls would officially be the first team to clinch a spot in the USL League One playoffs for the 2024 season. Of course, we've also got some great games coming up on Wednesday between Lexington and Central Valley before kicking off the next week of action on the weekend with Madison playing Spokane and Tormenta playing Charlotte. With that in mind, though, that's looking ahead and looking at the current. Let's take a look back at Week 19. We've got the goal of the week, the save of the week, and the team of the week, all of which had something to do with the home team here.
They've got to go get another. Lewis got the pass away. Here's Gonzalez. Just like that, it's 2-1. Garcia. Or is it Carrera Garcia? Falls to the 15-year-old again. Can he equalize it? It's saved. Brooks Thompson, take a bow. What a bright spark he's been in this match.
And here is our team of the week from Week 19, Luis Heel. Rounding out the sweep here, and Coach of the Week, Lee Veedman, joining him. Spokane all the way through the Week 19 awards. He had a goal and an assist in that victory against Central Valley Fuego, and he's joined by many of his teammates as well. But with that in mind, we're going to step aside. When we come back, the first half highlights, the first half stats, and the second half of action here with you on ESPN+.
At Eastern Washington University, students and faculty work side by side to restore a lost prairie and decrease our carbon footprint. Composers are writing music to help us understand how salmon migrate. And urban and regional planning students partner with cities to gather the data they need to address homelessness. Interdisciplinary education that gets real about the real world. That's Eastern Washington University and you.
There's 2 Zephyr FC home matches left in September. Welcoming opponents from Charlotte and DC, featuring top pro talent from far and wide, playing at one Spokane Stadium. With science activities from Mobius on September 15th. See Spokane Zephyr FC make women's sports history. Reserve your seats now. There's 2 Zephyr FC home matches left in September. Welcoming opponents from Charlotte and DC, featuring top pro talent from far and wide, playing at one Spokane Stadium. With science activities from Mobius on September 15th. See Spokane Zephyr FC make women's sports history. Reserve your seats now.
We return to one Spokane Stadium for the second half of action here between the Spokane Velocity and South Georgia Tormenta, brought to you by Idaho Central Credit Union, your financial success fan club. Let's take a look at the highlights from the first half of action between these two sides. No goals, but plenty of opportunities in this one. Once again, the highlights brought to you by Idaho Central Credit Union. But yes, a lot of chances in this one, Klaus.
A lot of chances created on the left side, and a lot of those chances created by Gonzalez, who so far has had a very good game. Here we see a couple of ones coming off the counterattack. Lewis putting a good ball towards the left, and Gonzalez pretty much to that goal that we saw in the highlights and the goal of the week and the team of the week, where Gonzalez was also a protagonist, also being a protagonist here on the far left side.
Couldn't find the back of the net there, and they nearly had the back of the net there from Ish Joe, but he couldn't head it on frame. It was well worked by him and Josh Dulling, but didn't have the final product. Then Andre Lewis, another prime opportunity in this one, blocked away by Ford Parker. And we get to the 36th minute, and it is one of the chances for Tormenta. Pedro Fonseca, his name was called by our very own Klaus German to step up, and step up he did. Had an opportunity there. He'd have another opportunity before the half concluded, but here are your halftime stats brought to you once again by ICCU. The shots on target favor Spokane. They've had more of the edge in the game, but what really matters is that first stat line at the top. Still 0-0, anyone's game to take.
And look at the possession, 51-49, when we saw 60-40 in the first couple of minutes, corners 3-1, and offsides 1-3. Only one yellow card so far in these first 45 minutes.
So now the two teams will switch ends. Spokane will go left to right, Tormenta right to left, and we'll see if one of these teams can find a difference maker in the second 45 minutes of action. Will it be one of those two guys, Pedro Fonseca or Sebastian Vivas? Will it be one of the playmakers on Spokane? We are back and into the action here from One Spokane Stadium. Mark Schoenster and Klaus German with you on ESPN+. Both these teams right in the thick of the playoff race. Spokane, their recent form has put them in a different echelon. Meanwhile, Ian Cameron's side is trying to hang in there at the moment. Look at the active table. They are currently still in the playoff spot. Chattanooga losing that game earlier today against Greenville means that Tormenta will not slip out of that spot here this evening, but the Richmond Kickers got 3 points against the Charlotte Independents, a huge result for Darren Sawatsky's side, which puts them at 16 points. So they are now nipping at the ankles of Tormenta as well.
No substitutions for the second 45 minutes. The same 22 protagonists that left towards the locker room are the same ones to come back. And of course, only one yellow card, Philip Spengler.
Hernandez, this one out to Derek Waldeck. Popped over to the right-hand side, was searching for Ish Jome. It's Curtis Thorne. The new addition, but an old face. Back to Ian Cameron's crew. Just his third appearance this season for Tormenta. But of course, he's got a whole trove of experience with this side in years past. Walker with the cross. Couldn't connect with Vivas, so it'll bounce out harmlessly for a goal kick. Can't watch the match? Turn on Sirius XM FC 157, North America's only 24/7 source for engaging soccer talk, including USL All Access Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern. Plus hear live matches from the USL, MLS, Premier League, and more. All on Sirius XM FC 157 and the new Sirius XM app.
The same high pressure we saw from Spokane in the first couple of minutes of the first half is the same pressure that we're seeing from Tormenta now. Not allowing the home side to come out comfortable with the ball. You can see the three up front, sort of pressuring, not allowing the team to come out with the ball at their feet. Sometimes having to use the keeper or even the last defender as a resource.
Sliding challenge from Dangler. Dispossesses Josh Dulling, and now Tormenta looked to ask some questions earlier on in this half than they did in the first, where they just weathered the storm for 15 minutes and just hope for the best. Spangler couldn't get there in time, so it will go out for a goal kick.
Spokane also felt way more comfortable when Tormenta had the ball in possession, when they were the ones in charge of creating, of elaborating, and they just waited. Decided to strike back with a couple of counterattacks, two of them being very close plays, almost ending in the back of the net. And Tormenta has been able to even the game out.
So we are, of course, back underway here, also back underway in Windsor, Colorado, between the Hailstorm and Union Omaha. Back-to-back games there between those two, having played in the Cup on Wednesday and now playing each other in the league this Saturday. Mentioned at halftime, if Omaha wins that game and Tormenta lose this one, then Union Omaha would clinch up and would have a playoff spot secured. While sitting alone at the top of the table, ball lofted in on the corner kick. Watson. Getting it back to Lombardi. His service goes inside. Now this one played well up ahead. And Gonzalez tracks it down. What will he do with it now? Gonzalez crosses it, headed up and out of play by Lombardi for a corner kick.
And Gonzalez had one target in mind, and that was Hill, the far post. Very good defensive option here to get the danger out of that small box. Now Tormenta doing what they didn't do in the first half, which is retreat as a whole defensively. Not leaving any holes, not leaving any spaces. First half we saw how always, either on the left or right side, you saw players appearing completely by themselves with no marking whatsoever. Now you can see the back four as a whole, and the home side decides to attack.
This is the ICCU corner kick, your financial success fan club. Derek Waldeck with heel right there. Waldeck's ball over top of everybody. We had a tumbling of bodies near the penalty marker. Ultimately nothing doing there. So you saw the table at halftime, and we'll keep giving you updates throughout this season as the table develops. But as of right now, between 7th and 8th place, there is a 7-point gap between Tormenta and the current holders of Northern Colorado, Hailstorm, at 25 points. Ian Cameron said, look, with the way the table has developed, it's like two leagues right now. You've got those top 7, and then you've got the rest of the league fighting for that final spot. It's sort of a mini league in and of itself, and it's a mini league that he said they need to win. There's no hiding from it, and if things go well and they find some results, they string them together, and then they have the opportunity to hop another team in the group, above them that is, then you talk about that and you hope to acquire that. But as of right now, it's a conversation of who gets that last playoff spot, given the point cushion between 7th and 8th place. Jome somehow deflects to Heel, and Heel earns his side a corner kick.
Yeah, two teams with different realities. I mean, Spokane only, in my opinion, only a catastrophe will leave them out of playoffs. Of course, they want to finish as high as possible. We talked to the coach, that's exactly what he said. Doesn't care about the table, he just wants to go game by game. But Tormenta, we're going to talk about it in just a second after this corner kick, but a couple of fortunate results for them. Chattanooga losing, North of Colorado, which is the team above them, also losing at this moment. So they're getting a couple of favorable results this evening here.
Hailstorm, of course, still in play, so they can switch things around, but are trailing 1-0 to Union Omaha as it stands on their home turf. Another ICCU corner kick. It's Waldeck once again. Luis Heel is an outlet, and now some skirmishing happening inside the penalty area. And it's getting feisty here. We're gonna have to see some discussions from the officiating crew after this one as they try to let this one cool off. Notice the ref not going to get in the middle of that because there's not much you could do there to break it up.
I think the worst one there was between Longmire and Beavis. I think those were the two that probably should get a booking here. I mean, it's understandable, the reaction from Losh. I mean, you also have to understand that it's part of the game. I mean, physical contact is part of the game. And of course, as we said,
we've got a red card booking. You mentioned it. Ahmed Longmire looks to have been given a straight red. Which is a massive development in this game. Now, the question is, will anybody else get a booking, or is this the result of that skirmish?
I think Beavis should get a red card as well. I mean, I'm sure we'll look at the replay in just a second, but it was just both of them going back and forth at each other, grappling each other, and I think Beavis even attempted to throw a push in there. So if this stays the way it is, I think it's a little bit unfortunate. I think unfair for the home side. Should have been a red for each side.
So Ahmed Longmire, his night's concluded. And of course, that means he also misses the road game against Madison next Saturday. And Spokane have to play a man down for the rest of this game. They do have a corner kick here, so they could really change the vibes here with a properly executed set piece. But the fact of the matter is the visitors now have a big opportunity. They've got about 35 minutes of a man advantage. As you see, Javier Martin Heel preparing to come out. It's our head official, Lukasz Józefecki. It's not only Javier Martin Heel, but also Kamarni Smith, who are starting to prepare themselves.
There had to be something else. Maybe some words or something that originated that red card. If not, it doesn't make a lot of sense.
Here's the corner. Waldeck drives it in, knocked away by Parker. They get another service in. Instead, Niall Watson stamps on that one. So now if you're Spokane, you mentioned before they went down a man that maybe they were welcoming some of that pressure and hoping to capitalize on the counterattack as Vivas heads it down. Offside flag stays down. And Tormenta will progress forward. But perhaps that strategy will be even more so utilized here if you're Spokane. You let Tormenta have the ball and just hope for a counterattacking opportunity. Fonseca goes out. Killwine. Aaron Walker sends it over to the right-hand side. Thorne Able to keep it under his control. Steedman with the cross, caught by Thompson.
Good reflexes by the keeper, coming out with a lot of authority. Now, my question here is, what is Ian Cameron going to do about this? And looks like we're going to have 2 substitutions coming right out. We're going to go over them in just a second. But is he going to push the team forward? Is he going to take out a midfielder? Is he going to take out a defender? Is he going to add men up top, knowing that now their rivals, their opposition tonight is going to play with a man down for the next, 34, 35 minutes, if we take into consideration stoppage time as well. So there's a lot of room to go with, more time than you think here. So it's key to just make those substitutions now, push the team forward, and see if they can go after the result that they pretty much desperately need.
Heel taps it inside for Lewis. Lewis is knocked away by Lombardi. Fonseca sends it over to the right-hand side for Thorne, but instead it's Spokane who find it. Gonzalez has that one glance off the referee, which means it'll be a drop ball.
It should have been for the home side. Yeah, it should have been for the home side. The ref has been making weird decisions tonight, especially starting with that red card. I mean, I never saw something clear from Longmire, excuse me. I never saw him throwing a hand. I never, maybe, like I said, a few words, maybe profanity, but other than that, him and Beavis just pushing each other. Should have been a yellow card for both, and that's it. A couple of off decisions here by the ref. That should have been a ball for the home side.
So we're here. Just a little over 30 minutes to go in this game. A straight red issued to Ahmed Longmire has given Tormenta a man advantage. 2 substitutions readying themselves for both teams once they get the chance to perform them. Here's Spangler. Could not get by Colin Fernandez, who stands firmly there, wins the ball back for the home team.
And they're going to have to restructure that defense. They're going to have to you go back with a line of 3, maybe a line of 4, and change the tactical picture just a bit. The question is here, do you try to hold for the remaining 30 minutes? Or do you try to go for the points? I mean, you look at the table, and the reality is Spokane doesn't need to go for those 3 points. They're very comfortable with that, but you never want to put your guard down, especially towards the last stretch of the season, as we see the substitutions coming in.
So for the home side, Osriel Gonzalez will come out, and Javier Martin Heel will sub in for him. Then Josh Doling will step out for Kemarni Smith. Meanwhile, on Tormenta's side of things, 2 changes as well. Callum Stretch will sub in for Aaron Lombardi in his return after injury. And then Jackson Curry steps in for Ajmir Spangler. So those are the changes for Lee Veidman and Ian Cameron. 30 more minutes to go in this affair.
Gonzalez was just pretty much one of the most dangerous players in the first half. Attacking, running, elaborating through that left side. Didn't see much from him in the second half. And that's the reason why the coach decides to take him out, replace him with the defenders for now. Spokane back with a line of 3.
Fonseca. Offside flag goes up, and that'll stop it there. Velocity fans, scan the QR code to get your single match tickets today. Once again, your next game will be October 12th at home against the Greenville Triumph. The team that won 5-2 today against Chattanooga. Some updates for you here as well. We have some extra bookings from that scuffle earlier to get to you. Not only was there the straight red card given to Ahmed Longmire, but there was also a yellow card issued to a player apiece for Tormenta at Spokane. Marcelo Lodge getting a yellow card. Meanwhile, Jake Dangler getting one for Tormenta. So some extra players that these coaches, including Ian Cameron, the man we're looking at right now, have to monitor for the rest of this game. Of course, Lodge and Dangler, 2 center backs, not guys you typically want to sub out of the game. So ultimately, the onus will fall on them to be careful. Watson. Trapped in a corner. He's able to get that one away, but not to anywhere productive.
Tormenta here is the team that's quote-unquote obligated to go after the result. We talked about the margin of error. We talked about that last third of the season. Tormenta has a couple of teams chasing right behind them, looking for that last playoff spot. So 3 points tonight could be key right here. It could be vital for the visitors to try to secure, obviously not 100%, but try to secure for now a playoff spot.
Fonseca back up top to Walker. Now it's out to Steedman. Steedman puts it in play, and Vivas couldn't place it on target.
What a ball from that right side. I want to see the position of Vivas again, but again, that ball is just beautiful.
And it was actually Callum Stretch on the service, the substitute. And Vivas could only get the crown of his head on it. Unable to redirect it towards goal. If he could just put it on target, that was bound to go into the back of the net.
Yeah.
The first real chance since the red card was issued for Tormenta. Smith tried to send it over to Heel, but Fonseca, double team, was able to slip by them. Fonseca still with it, nearly threaded the needle, but now the ball is squared across. Walker, outside. Here's another lofted ball. Vivas made some contact on the ball, but he was also, looked like he may have been getting held by Ishjome. Heel playing it up for Smith. Getting there first is Preston Kilwine.
It's crazy how the game has changed from the first half, where the home side was pretty much the only team on the pitch, dominating every end of the aspect, possession, passes, chances created. And I'm not going to put the red card as an excuse, but even before the red card, Tormenta seems to be the better team in the second half, and obviously you can tell that the substitutions have made a positive impact. So far you can tell how they push forward. They're completely in the opposition's field.
Nice ball from Walker. And here's a shot from Curry, the other substitute, testing Brooks Thompson.
Thompson is a keeper that generates me so much confidence. And that's key for the defenders. We talked about talking, we talked about speaking, we talked about leading from the back. So far, this keeper has been responding well. Almost every action he's been called upon.
Brooks Thompson, one of several players on this side on loan from Hartford Athletic. Walker got that one knocked loose. Smith spins that one out of danger. Now Lewis has that one glance away from him. Fernandez, now Heel, trying to juggle past Walker, but Walker did well there. Slow to get up, play will go on though.
That one was definitely not a foul. Heel tried to get away from his marker, but as soon as he saw that the ball was going to be repossessed and lost, he decided to go down.
Curry, just hopeful there. The USL Championship and League One are on CBS Sports and ESPN platforms all season long. Catch live matches and expert analysis every day on the CBS Sports Golazo Network and ESPN+. Go to USLChampionship.com or USLLeague1.com for the complete USL TV listings. Spokane currently trying to hang on to at least a point here. And if they have an opportunity fall their way, maybe get all 3 points as they try to join the race for a home playoff spot in the opening round. Foul called on Camardi Smith, and that stokes the ire of the crowd.
Yeah, a couple of weird decisions there by the referee. On this one in particular, I think it was a foul. Again, we talked about body to body, but that's from the back, not from the side. Clearly, there is a foul. Good call by the referee on this one. I understand people are upset because of some of the calls. You can see the fans are off their seats, but on this one, the referee made the right choice.
Yeah, once you get into the bad graces, it's hard to get out of the bad graces with the fans in the stands.
That's right. I still want, I'm sorry to be annoying, but I still want to know about that red card. I mean, he had to have said something. If now there's just no way he could be sent off just like that.
So that one made some contact, but it sputters out of play. It'll be a corner, though. Ishjome, the one who had to shuffle that one out. Thorne will leave it for Steedman to get another ICCU corner kick. Very high on the service. Nodded outward for Jackson Curry to pick up. Curry's ball, bending in, and away by Lodge. Kilwine lifts it well too high over the crossbar and out. Talking about the home fans, I asked Leif Eatman just how big it would be if they could get a home playoff game this season, and he said it's big for any club. A home playoff game is massive. And he talked a little bit about his experience last year as an assistant coach with the Charleston Battery, and they got to be at home through their entire run, including hosting the USL Championship final, and it was always electric there at Patriots Point. He said it was awesome for us and the fans to experience, but now, right now that is, their focus is on Tormenta, taking it game by game. He said at the end of the season, we'll get what we deserve, which I think is a good perspective on it.
Yeah.
So we get a score update over in the other match taking place right now. Although the Hailstorm are able to find an answer, it is 2-1. It was a Noah Powder penalty that leveled the scoring, and then a minute later, Lagos Kunga gave the lead right back to Union Omaha. The Owls looking to be the first team to break 30 points on the season. And should Spokane, despite being down a man, find a victory here, they would help the Owls clinch up the first playoff spot of the season. Steedman sending it up the pitch to Callum Stretch. 20 more minutes to go in this one. Ahmed Longmire sent off in the second half. Tormenta trying to take advantage of that. In a tight spot, Derek Waldeck doing well. Scan now and you will win one of 20 unique restaurant discounts. Thank you Caruso's, De Leon's Taco and Bar, The Burger Dock, Flat Stick Pub, TT's Barbecue, Jimmy John's, Casa Tap House, IHOP, and Steam Plant Restaurant and Brew Pub. Luis Heel in the other direction, tried to find Smith. Steedman now will traverse and bring it forward, but that pass beyond the likes of Aaron Walker. Lewis. That's that one taken away. Watson tapping it back to Walker. As Curtis Thorne takes a foray forward. Inside for Fonseca. He squares it to the right-hand side. Jackson Curry takes the shot himself. Not on target. Jackson Curry in his second year with Tormenta burst onto the scene last year. He's just a 20-year-old Australian. Made his presence known quickly. Still looking for his first goal in league play this season. He did find one in the Jägermeister Cup.
Tormenta has been creating a couple of chances in the last couple of minutes, couple of shots from far away. Nothing clear from the visitors. Totally different second half from the first half, where home side pretty much dominated, at least for the first 30 minutes. Here we barely had to call for Parker, who I think has been another viewer just like us. Final stretch, final 18 minutes here.
As the clock continues to whittle down here, Klaus, we talked about it when the red card was first issued, how Spokane addresses this. As you get closer and closer to a draw, unless something changes, how more inclined are you to bunker in and just settle for that as this game wears on? Fonseca, back heel roll to Walker. Walker trying to float up a ball for either Vivas or Watson, neither could get there.
And you can tell in the second half, 5 shots to nil for the visitors. I mean, Spokane knows that there's about to be 15 minutes left on the clock. And like we discussed previously, their place on the table allows them to take this game a little more conservative, to try to close it out. Careful here.
Fonseca will take the shot himself once again and tried to chip this one and place it nicely, but from that distance, without some heat, Brooks Thompson's going to be able to track it down.
At the same time, you also don't want to make the team too defensive by adding a couple of substitutions that could unbalance the team so far. Tormenta has been creating chances, but those last couple of moves, those last passes, those shots just haven't been on point. A finishing touch is what's kept away so far from a goal.
Visiting side looking to be the first team to beat Spokane in league play since July 27th. That's 5 straight results unbeaten in league play. The first of those 5 having been that 3-3 draw between these two teams.
Yep.
Walker over to the corner for Fonseca. Not a lot of room to work with here. He's able to get it away though, Steedman. Switch it wide. Walker again. It's returned to him. Aaron Walker shoots, and Aaron Walker skies it. A lot of shooting opportunities here for Tormenta and a lot of trips above the crossbar.
It's already 6 shots, 4 in the last 20 minutes. Tormenta, who again has been having the ball, has been possessing, has been passing, has been looking even better than we expected in the second half, despite the red card. Even before the red card, the visitors were playing better, but that last finishing touch, as we said a couple of seconds ago, that's what's keeping them away from a goal.
Velocity fans, get match ready with the latest Velocity merchandise. Shop online or in the team store at Davenport Grand Hotel in Spokane. Here's Ish Jome. Jome making a move, tried to thread it inside. Now Luis Heel with a step. Back to Jome. Jome tried to contort that one around. It's gonna be a tall order. And it ended up being a tall shot.
That high press that we saw from Spokane in the first 15, 20 minutes of the match definitely affected them for the rest of the game. Physically, you can tell there's a lot of fatigue in the team. Players not making those runs that we saw in the first half anymore. Clearly the first half was big physical endurance for the home side, and obviously playing with a man down almost the entire second half.
That'll wear you out too.
100%.
So under 15 minutes to go. The red card issued at the 54th minute, which means at this point in time, Spokane have been playing down a man for over 20 minutes. Pedro Fonseca with a chance to chat with Ian Cameron as play resumes. Cameron, a very analytical guy. Always enjoy a chance to talk to him about the game. Always willing to dive into the nitty-gritty. Someone else who might be following in his footsteps is Curtis Thorne, who's returned to the team as of late. While he was injured, Ian Cameron told me that he delved into the game analysis side of things and ended up volunteering at FIU to be one of their video guys for the soccer team to get into the coaching aspect of things. And Ian Cameron said, you know, a lot of guys who get into coaching wish they had done it earlier because it helps them see the game in a different light. And Curtis Thorne, a guy who has done that, gets to enjoy that perspective he's now gained while he's still a player. He gets to go back out there and maybe think about the game more so as a coach while he's still playing the sport. Different perspectives can always be super helpful. As Kemarney Smith rolls it over to Heel. Heel, the cross, headed away by Stretch. Some numbers will be pushed forward here for Spokane, which means an opportunity for them to perhaps create a chance down a man, but it also invites for perhaps a counterattack for Tormenta. That one immediately goes out of bounds for a visiting throw.
Almost no work for the defense at all. No work for the keeper for Tormenta in the second half. It's been all complete. Visitors have dominated.
Dangler plays this one out wide. Stretch rolls it ahead for Curry. Jackson Curry with a lifted ball all the way over to Fonseca. Connects with Walker up top. Aaron Walker tried to rifle it. Long distance effort, skips wide. Brooks Thompson looks to have had that one covered. Preston Kilwine letting it fly. So, a couple of substitutions here for Tormenta. You see Steedman exiting for Austin Wenner. Meanwhile, Connor Doyle will also step on for Niall Watson. Connor Doyle, one of those players I mentioned earlier who have won a USL League One championship, along with Aaron Walker, Curtis Thorne, and Jake Dangler. And then, of course, Brooks Thompson on the Spokane side of things with experience winning a League One title, having done so last year with North Carolina before they made the jump to the USL Championship. Waldeck. How'd that one go off the face of Callum Stretch? Smith now. Tried to weave it through Wenner. Wenner gets it away. Fonseca leads it up to Wenner. A sliding challenge from Colin Fernandez puts a halt to what could have been a push of numbers. As now a substitution will be made. On Lee Vietman's side of things, Jack Denton coming in to provide some more stability. And Andre Lewis will see his night come to a conclusion. Englishman coming over, having played for Missouri State during his college days. And Andre Lewis has been given a booking on his way out for taking too long to get to the sideline. But either way, it's met by the coaching staff, and we'll now see the rest of this game from the bench. As the time ticks on, and with that change, perhaps the question is for Spokane is just how can we get out of this one with a point instead of trying to find an odd man counterattack. Might be seeing more and more of a low block here from the home side. It's Tormenta. They get tasked with the thing that they've been struggling to find as of late, which is breaking down a team when they're established defensively. Curry. Cross to Walker. It's Walker once again. His service blocked immediately by the substitute, Jack Denton.
You spoke about that game against Northern Colorado. Pedro Fonseca finding the equalizer at the 97th minute. Again, in a very unfortunate game for Tormenta, where they were the superior side. They played better, they possessed more, they even had more chances, but weren't able to take advantage of them. And that's one of the things we spoke with Coach Ian Cameron. That's one of the things he told us. The finishing, taking advantage of those chances created, that's been one of the biggest deficits, one of the biggest problems for this side. See if they can find a late one tonight.
Denton. And that one knocked out by Fonseca, so it will be a deep throw for the home team. Turn from Denton. Cleared away by Doyle. That one will bounce out without a threat for a corner kick.
Yeah, after the red card, things become very, very difficult for Spokane, who tried to generate, tried to elaborate, but almost had no shots at all in the second half. That red card clearly unbalancing the team, even though a couple of substitutions obviously were made to restructure that back.
eFootball 2024 is here. Live your dream, rep your team, and play as your favorite USL Championship club. eFootball is free to play. Download now. You can play as Brooks Thompson's former team, North Carolina FC, former League One club. Fonseca lifts this one to Vivas. Lifted his leg up, but he couldn't connect with it.
Fonseca, who has been in charge of the elaboration, finding passes, finding spaces. He's done it pretty well in the second half. A player that we almost saw nothing from him in the first half. One shot that was kept away by the keeper, but other than that, very little from number 10 in the first half. Second half, a complete different story. A couple of shots, a couple of passes. If I had to choose, if I had to keep someone from this Tormenta team, at least the player that tried the most in the second half has been number 10. 5 minutes to go.
Jackson Curry heads it to Fonseca. Curtis Thorne now walking it down the pitch. He's got Connor Doyle behind him to give the ball to. Walker, another cross sliding in. And I believe Wenner may have been offside either way. So a free kick for the home team. Under 5 minutes to go, but then we'll have added time tacked on here.
Here's the previous one. Player clearly coming out of the offside position. But one thing Spokane is probably going to be upset about, if that's a good term to use, is those chances they had in the first half, in the first 15, 20 minutes, where they had many chances. They could have scored, could have got ahead of the scoreboard, but you see the finishing wasn't on their side.
Luis Heel tried to clip that one from behind him and ended up clipping Preston Kilwine. Well, actually, they're going to say it's a foul on Preston Kilwine, and actually, that is the correct call. Throwing in a shove on Luis Heel, which has caused him to bumble over and clip Kilwine in the process. So free kick for Spokane. And a chance for them to perhaps conjure up a chance and challenge Ford Parker. Waldeck winds up. Not a bad looking ball. It fell to Cameron Miller, who scored from a set piece against Omaha not too long ago. Nearly doing it again here.
What a ball. Almost, I think, perfect. The accuracy, the timing, the speed, the power. Probably the best chance that Spokane had in the second half.
Yeah, I agree with you there.
One of the best ones.
Connor Doyle sprays it out to Thorne, who gives it right back. The thought just crossed my mind here, the idea of if you told a League One fan a year or two ago that Connor Doyle and Aaron Walker would be playing in the same midfield and it would be for Tormenta, I think that would cause some brains to explode. Crazy thought, two real staples in the league for a long time for different teams. Fonseca winds up to shoot! That one not far off.
Wonderful strike by the Brazilian. Hitting the roof of the goal. Again, Fonseca has been on game in the second half. Definitely improving from what we saw in the first half, where if you take a look at the actions, the most important one was created by number 10 after that shot from close range. And Tormenta has had the game here in the second half, but just like Spokane in the first 15-20 minutes, they haven't been able to take advantage of those chances they've created.
Brooks Thompson blasting it up the field. Time ticking away here. Either side fishing for a magical moment in this one. Or else it'll be a point apiece between these two once the final whistle rings. Curry. His cross deflected immediately by Ish Jome. But a corner kick now for Tormenta.
On a positive side, Spokane has been so solid defensively in the second half. It hasn't been easy, but they've been very solid and have forced Tormenta to take those outside shots. Pretty good half defensively from the home side.
Another ICCU corner kick. It'll be Connor Doyle on the service. Knocked away. Doyle could do it again. And Jome once again is in the way. Now the fans rallying in support of their side. They've been down a man for over 30 minutes now. And they've got 3 more minutes to hang on in this one. Stoppage time presented by Rose Hour Supermarkets. And there it is officially from our 4th official. 3 minutes. It's 3 minutes for one of these teams to make a play and claim 3 points. They're bunkering in now. Curry cuts to his left. Jackson Curry running out of real estate. Now sends it in, it's deflected. Walker tried to slice that one back inside. Tormenta trying to crack the code here. Dangler out to Fonseca. Another service incoming. And this one immediately knocked out of play by Derek Waldeck. Connor Doyle from the right corner flag this time on the ICCU corner kick. Maybe a little better luck from this end. Doyle Drives it in, headed towards goal, but Preston Kilwine couldn't keep it down.
What a ball. What a ball. And again, one thing that we spoke about Spokane all night long is how well they've defended on this one, letting the mark slip away, and the header literally inches above the crossbar. Nothing the keeper could have done about that one. Tormenta letting another good chance slip by.
Could be the last big chance in the game for Tormenta. They might have one more opportunity to push forward here. 30 seconds until we hear the final whistle from Łukasz Józefecki. Callum Stretch plays it back to Doyle. Dangler gets it over to Preston Kilwine. Curry knocks it in. The header is towards goal, but Brooks Thompson falls on top of it. And that may be the last moment of this one.
Should be the last moment. Tormenta tried. They created many chances in the second half on both left and right side. Some of them ended up in long-range shots. Other ones ended up in crosses. But the reality is both teams had their halves. No one here took advantage.
It's a game where opportunities were not taken advantage of. A fair point aside between Spokane and Tormenta. 0-0, your final score between these two, which means in 2 meetings officially, it's 2 draws. Nothing to separate these 2 sides in their 2 clashes, although the 2 matchups in particular looked quite different.
Yeah, a little different from what we saw last time, where we saw a total of 6 goals. Here, a little more conservative. As we said, both halves completely different. The first 25, 30 minutes of the first half completely dominated by the home side, who suffocated Tormenta. Didn't let them cross the equator of the pitch, created chances, got the keeper involved. But unfortunately for them, they couldn't take advantage of those chances they created. In the second half, same story, but pretty much vice versa, as Tormenta came out in the second half with a total different attitude, looking for chances, playing better defensively, which was one of the biggest mistakes in the first half, where they didn't come back, they didn't retreat every single time they went forward. And clearly that red card was very important for Tormenta to pretty much lead in the second half, but still not finding the back of the net.
Now let's look at tonight's play of the match, brought to you by Modelo, the mark of a fighter. And it's this save made by Brooks Thompson. Pedro Fonseca, really the first foray forward for Tormenta in this game, taking place in the first half. Made a push, let it fly, and Brooks Thompson was ready to be called to action in his first save of the evening. Sometimes that can be difficult as a keeper, where you're stagnant for over 30 minutes just waiting for something to happen, and then you're called to make that stop, to make that save, and he was more than prepared for it. We get all the angles on this one on ESPN+. Another look, another save. That's that. Kept the clean sheet, which both goalkeepers will be happy about. And we got some post-game thoughts coming up after this, but we'll step aside for a quick break. When we come back, we'll get you the highlights and stats here on ESPN+.
De vez en cuando, todos queremos soltarnos. Solo necesitamos un poco de ayuda. Conozca Un Poco de Ayuda. El Ford Bronco Sport Wild Edition 2024 pasa por cualquier terreno para que puedas darlo todo. Obtén una gran oferta en una Bronco Sport hoy mismo. Arrienda una Bronco Sport Wild Edition por $339 al mes por 36 meses o cómpralo con 3.9 por 36 y obtén $2,000 de bono Wild.
There's 2 Zephyr FC home matches left in September. Welcoming opponents from Charlotte and DC, featuring top pro talent from far and wide, playing at one Spokane stadium. With science activities from Mobius on September 15th. See Spokane Zephyr FC make women's sports history. Reserve your seats now.
At Eastern Washington University, students and faculty work side by side to restore a lost prairie and decrease our carbon footprint. Composers are writing music to help us understand how salmon migrate. And urban and regional planning students partner with cities to gather the data they need to address homelessness. Interdisciplinary education that gets real about the real world. That's Eastern Washington University and you.
Tonight's broadcast is brought to you by Idaho Central Credit Union, your financial success fan club. Scoreless after 90-plus minutes here between Spokane and South Georgia. Mark Schoenster, Klaus German with you here on ESPN Plus as we give you our closing thoughts as we wrap this one up nicely. Let's take a look at the highlights from the 90 minutes of action. We were just saying during the break, may have been a 0-0 draw, but it certainly wasn't one of those stale 0-0 draws where nothing happened. Not a cagey affair. It was just one where the opportunities presented themselves and neither team had the sharpness to get it done.
The first half completely controlled by the home side, who created a lot of chances, especially from the counter-attack. You're going to see one right here, beautiful ball from Lewis towards the possession of Gonzalez, who was the spiciest player in the first half with a couple of different chances. This one choosing to go on the far post instead of the near post, but clearly the home side dominated the first half.
You can see another opportunity here. Ish Jom may have been one of the best chances of the entire game there for Spokane. Just couldn't put it on frame. He was able to get himself open, but he couldn't find that corner he was targeting. Andre Lewis tried to pick out a corner, but couldn't get it past the pink-clad Ford Parker. And moments later, we highlighted this as our play of the game. Pedro Fonseca trying to turn the tides a little bit, takes the shot, but Brooks Thompson wouldn't have it. He'd end up getting his second clean sheet of the regular season with Spokane since he joined them, that being his 9th start in regular season play. Then, second half starts, and we get this whole commotion. See Ahmed Longmire going to be given a red card. A couple other yellow cards being given due to that kerfuffle. So it means for about 40 minutes, Spokane played down a man, which means the moments are going to present themselves for Tormenta. And we saw a couple of those chances here. And then a set-piece opportunity for Spokane. This one nearly down a man. I mean, if we connect there, that's going into the back of the net.
100%. One of the best chances in the second half, as we see. No goals, of course, but the shots, 8-15, definitely improved for Tormenta in the second half after leaving in the first 45 minutes with only one shot on target, and that was the one that we saw previously by number 10. Shots on target, 2-4. Possession, also Tormenta, after being 60-40 down in possession, increasing it and making it a little more even, 56-44. Corners, 5-5, pretty even. Offsides, 5-1. We saw velocity here. FC Spokane playing the offside trap pretty well in many cases, many fragments of this match, and of course, yellow cards, 2-2.
With that, Tormenta's next game will be at home against the Charlotte Independence. Meanwhile, Spokane will go on the road for a 3-game road stretch starting on Saturday next week against Madison. But that's it for us here from One Spokane Stadium. For the entire broadcasting crew, for Klaus German, I'm Mark Schoenster saying thank you for tuning in. We hope you had a fantastic time, and we'll see you next time on ESPN Plus.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League League One cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League League One.